where the innovation meets inspiration. My name is Disha Verma, and I'm thrilled to be your host for today's session. Like the mountains is not just another hackathon, it's a vibrant community that brings together passionate individuals from around the world to innovate, collaborate, and create. Our mission is to provide a platform for building technologies, developers, designers, and entrepreneurs to showcase their skills, learn from each other, and solve the real world challenges. Each episode will feature stories of innovation, inspiration, creativity, and passion that bring together everyone from startups to corporate leaders to everyday users. Hello, amazing people. Welcome to this electrifying session of Qubit, where innovation meets inspiration. My name is Disha Verma, and I'm thrilled to be your host for today's session. Heck, the Mountains is not just another community. It's vibrant community that brings together passionate individuals from around the world to innovate, collaborate, and create. Our mission is to provide a platform for budding technologists, developers, designers, and entrepreneurs to showcase their skills, learn from each other, and solve the real world challenges. It's my pleasure to introduce our amazing speaker, Shruti Arora. Shruti is currently pursuing her M.Tech in cybersecurity from IGDTUW and has a deep passion for cybersecurity and technology. As the founder of DevRelo and a seasoned developer relations professional, she's been instrumental in driving product growth, community engagement, and cybersecurity advocacy. With a strong background in front-end development, Shruti has collaborated with various organizations to foster community growth and execute impactful marketing initiatives. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Shruti. The stage is all yours now.
Hello, thank you so much, Disha, for a wonderful welcome. And thank you to amazing folks joining in. Thank you so much. First of all, happy Independence Day. And okay, so I guess Disha has already introduced me well enough, but still, I would just like to uh, introduce myself. My name is Shruti Arora. I'm currently pursuing my master's in technology in cybersecurity from IGDTUW Delhi. Apart from cybersecurity, I am highly passionate about developer relations. I'm into this field since 2022, and it's been amazing 2 years. And I'm also working as a communal as a developer relation manager, and I'm also leading the tech community, which is specifically for developer relations enthusiasts, for people who want to get started into this field and they are lost somewhere. So this community is for them. I also provide mentorship to some amazing people who really want are very eagerly, getting started into this field. So that's about my introduction. So let's just today we have a very interesting topic I on SQL Maps, and I know this topic is something that really interests. Even when I was learning about SQL injection and different injection attacks, I was very curious to know about these attacks and to understand how we can actually resolve these. So, without further delay, let's just begin. So, uh, I'll just present my screen. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's just quickly go through with the agenda first. We'll just have a quick introduction to what exactly SQL injection attack is and how the SQL map actually acts as a very friendly tool for us. Then we'll see what the actual intention behind the attack is, who are doing these type of attacks, and then we'll quickly dive into some of the tales wherein we'll see real life incidents where uh, some of the data breaches have happened. Then we'll understand how to install SQL Map, and then we'll also understand how exactly the process works, and then we'll also see about how SQL Map actually, ensures and protects us from the injection attacks. Then we'll also dive into why. hackers use SQL Map, or why I would say why we people also use SQL Map and how actually it works. And then yeah, next. Okay, so before starting any topic, we know what's the agenda, what's the funda. We just need to understand ki what exactly the topic is. So let's just quickly understand in a very layman language what is SQL injection. So again, by the name, it is something key. It's injection. So it's something like it is a type of security vulnerability that allows an attacker. Yeah, when I'm saying it's a vulnerability, then I'm actually making you understand that it's something vulnerability. It's vulnerability, that means it is allowing the hacker or the attacker to interfere in our database. And when I'm saying he or she is able to interfere in our database, then you really know the consequences. When someone has the access to the database, he's the lord, he's the god. In today's time, I would say data is the gold, and to protect, to safeguard our data, that is would be, should be, and must be our foremost duty. And when we are not doing this, then we are actually welcoming attackers and welcoming hackers to just have access to them. So again, it's a vulnerability that which is allowing the attacker to interfere with the database. And he is when these type of injection attacks actually make attackers get access to the whole admin database. So means when he's having the access of admin database, that is what he's having the access of our user IDs, of our passwords, and of course maybe credit card details and other credentials. So yeah, so he's actually in this type of in SQL injection attack, he's actually using injection method to enter into the database, where he or she is trying to play with the query. We know SQL stands for structured query language, and it contains different queries. So it is he or she is actually trying to manipulate and play with these queries, and then gaining access to the database. And of course, when he's gaining access to the database, he's actually gaining access to our even sensitive data like credit card credentials and any other passwords. Next. Of course, when when attacker is actually gaining access to the database, what could happen if a company's, for example, database is being compromised? Then of course it would suffer from financial loss, and of course reputation, business reputation, and data loss, of course, and extended attack surface. So it is also said ki, of course, when one attack has been happened, then we are actually increasing the attack vectors of other attacks. So that is what the last point means. Ki it is also extended the attack surfaces. Yeah, next. So, yes, I should not, highlight this, because we already know the scenario of the today's world. So, there are a lot of these are two examples I've taken, like Yahoo data breach and Uber data breach that happened in 2016. I would actually want to highlight on a current scenario for like recently last month only. Even X was compromised. Around 9.8 GB of data was leaked. I mean, that's a huge number. And we all know, if the if our data is not safe, okay, we are not safe. So it is a very great phrase that I've heard: internet neither forgives and neither forgets. So data is the goal in today's world, and actually we need to protect, and we need to make sure that we are securing uh, our and safeguarding our softwares in a proper way. And that's why cybersecurity field has a lot of future scope, and there are less number of skilled people in this domain. And now, so gradually, this field is actually having a lot of scope is increasing gradually day by day. So yeah, so these were the two examples, the data breaches that happened Yahoo, which happened in 2013, and the Uber data breach that happened in 2016. And we know there are various different. We actually, when we are very highly active in social media, we actually get to see कि हर हफ्ते कोई ना कोई breach हमें देखने को मिलता है if we are aware about uh, breaches. Yeah, next. Okay, so let's first understand quickly ki how exactly SQL injection works. So yeah, so whenever we enter into a website, what we first see, we first see a login form, right? In that login form, we have two type of maybe input fields. We can say username and password. So whenever we try to enter a username, uh, for example, if I've entered Shruti and in password, whatever the password, Shruti1234. So, and then I'll try to submit that. What I'll get, if the password is correct and the login ID and credentials are correct, I would just get a pop up. I will just get, login into the web app. And if, for example, I have entered a wrong password, then of course that I would get a pop up saying incorrect password or incorrect credentials. That's how the scenario is in your front thing. But back of the story, what exactly is doing, for example, if I have to just take a random example where a website is actually prone to SQL injection attack. So I would say ki, if I've entered a username Shruti and I don't know the password, okay, I have just entered or in the username, or maybe 1 equals to 1. So now behind the story, we know कि in SQL I guess we all must know that SQL has a select command wherein, for example, if I've entered Shruti1234 password, if this password is correct, so the back of the story, the SQL will run this query select star from whatever the table name is, where would be used here, where the username equals to Shruti and the password equals to 1234. And if both of the things are correct, user and password, then it would return a valid and then a true thing, and then will get login. But if, for example, if the password was not correct, so of course we would just get a error, right? But what if in this type of attack, the hacker actually don't know about password, and then also he or she gets login into the thing, and it's very surprised to see, you will actually get very surprised to know how the scenario is actually working here. So what happened is, for example, attacker does not know about password. So what he'll do is he will try to play and manipulate with the SQL queries. So now what he'll write, for example, username mein to it's very easy. He'll just write, for example, username bhi nahi pata usko. So in username also, for example, he writes or, and 1 equals to 1. Now, back of the story, SQL knows, even we know 1 is always equal to 1, and that is always true. In any of the case, 1 is always equal to 1, right? So, back of the story, SQL will actually, you know, process this command as true because 1 is always equal to 1, right? So, that's how it will pass true in return, and then the attacker actually gets login into the web app. That's how, you know, the the SQL injection works. So here's a disclaimer, I would say. So this only happens when a particular website is prone to this attack. Prone, by prone I mean that it does not have a proper, it does not shielded and it's not protected and does not have proper security implementations and policies. So that is why we are nowadays we are also implementing that security must be the first step while building a product. That is why we are highly focusing on secure SDLC and maybe DevSecOps. Earlier, it used to be DevOps. Security used to be treated in the end, and it was maybe in some of the cases it was ignored as well. But nowadays, it is actually we are actually highly focusing on security. So yeah, next. Okay, now comes the interesting part to how to actually, practice the SQL map. So again, it's an open source tool, so everyone can use it and practice it. So you can just maybe go to the website sqlmap.org. You can extract this. It's quite very easy steps. You just need to do next and verify the installation, and then you will be ready to use it. Next. Okay, so why hackers use a SQL map again? So it's very simple. So once you will download and install and you will try to use it, you will actually find it has a very good UX and it's simple to use and it's flexible. Of course, it is open source, and since it's open source, so it has a good and large community support. Yeah. Next. Okay, so we already discussed about how SQL injection actually works, but let's just try to understand with this slide. So the first step is the user input manipulation. Again, so if, for example, I am the hacker, which I am not, but let's assume. So what I'll do is I'll just try to visit a random site and I my targeted site, and I will just test or validate the input fields, maybe the login forms or even the search boxes, by just manipulating with the data and just writing in the passwords one equal password field one equals to one, or maybe or, and if it works, then okay, I'll get access, and then that's how it is tested and it is validated. The next is weak security checks. When websites don't go through what user types, it actually creates a gateway for attackers to slip through undetected, of course. And then, of course, as I said, we are highly focusing on secure SDLC now. So non-secure coding practices leads to these type of injection attacks, and that's why um, in security we are actually taught of secure coding practices that we should implement while building or creating a product. And then unprotected web forms. So again, web form must, each and everything in a product must be secure, and similarly web forms which leads to SQL injection and these type of attacks should be also secure. So attackers actually exploit these forms by injecting SQL code. We just learned how they do so and manipulate the database queries executed by the server. Next. Okay, let's understand the syntax first. So once you have installed the software, so now what you need to do is you will just get this type of SQL map written over it in the terminal. And so here the syntax written is Python SQL map dot py u target URL and DPS. So SQL map refers to the tool that we're using, of course. Target URL is the URL that we need to test, or the the URL or the website which is our target website. So that is referred to as target URL. And DBS is the list of all databases or maybe vulnerable databases, I would say, that we'll get are prone to SQL injection. So with the help of this command, we'll get the list of all databases that you know that are vulnerable in that server. Next. All right. So a quick disclaimer again. So, as I mentioned in the previous slide, we just learned about syntax. Can we just move to the previous slide, please? Thank you. So here, the target URL, we can actually write any URL or any URL that we want to, practice on. बट ऐसा भी नहीं करना कि गूगल टाइप कर देना है, गूगल का वेबसाइट पे हम ट्राई कर रहे हैं अटैक, सो ऐसे नहीं करना. वी जस्ट नीड टू प्रैक्टिस ऑन डेमो वेबसाइट्स एंड मे बी इफ यू आर बिल्डिंग अ प्रोजेक्ट, सो उस पे टेस्ट करना है. ऐसे रैंडम किसी भी वेबसाइट्स पे टेस्ट नहीं करना, बिकॉज अगेन जहाँ पे वी डोंट हैव परमिशन, we are not supposed to test on these websites. And because again, if these are not ethical practices, then, and when we are teaching and we are learning cybersecurity, on day one only we are taught this thing, कि we are ethical hackers, and we are we are ethical learners, and we are not unethical learners. So we are not learning cybersecurity for unethical practices and for maybe to become an attacker. We're not learning to become an attacker, we're learning to become a ethical hacker. So yeah. Next. All right, I know this is such a practical topic, so again this would take me a lot of time, but I hope I have made you understand the basics of this attack and how SQL Map acts as a friendly tool to protect our data and to protect against all these SQL injection attacks. So if you want a detailed and structured complete handwritten notes for SQL Map, so you can just scan this and you can maybe DM me notes, or maybe hi, or maybe SQL Map, and I'll send you a complete note file. Thank you. If you have any questions, you're most welcome to.
Thank you, Shruti. On behalf of the entire Hack the Mountains team, a huge thank you to Shruti Arora for an insightful session on navigation data using SQL Maps. This session is sure to be a valuable resource for our participants as they prepare for the hackathon. We are thrilled to announce that we have crossed 3,000 plus registrations and excitement is building. Participants, do not forget to follow our socials and Shruti's profile for more updates and valuable content. You can find the links in the description. We can't wait to see everyone at the hackathon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, HTM team. Thank you.